I've always been drawn to choral music because choral music is not just music, it's music and it's poetry. It's two art forms in one. The music elevates the text and the text inspires the music, and together it makes one of the most beautiful forms of art that I think is here in the world, and it's why I do what I do. On May 2nd, Choral Art Society will be premiering a brand new cantata of mine based on Vivaldi's Four Seasons. The Four Seasons is arguably one of the most famous and most recognizable pieces of music in the world. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who hears and doesn't recognize it. The idea for this piece came about from my discovery of the sonnets that Vivaldi wrote about the seasons. Vivaldi himself actually wrote 4 traditional 14-line sonnets about each season, and those sonnets went on to inspire and influence his music that he wrote. And the music that he wrote very carefully paints musically and depicts what is going on in the text. And as I said, choral music is a real marriage between music and great poetry. And these sonnets of Vivaldi's are beautiful. I think that they are very good poetic works of art on their own merit. They're written in a really gorgeous, antiquated Italian, and they illuminate very interesting and very human experiences of each of the seasons. I saw a really interesting opportunity here, and that was to take these texts that have been virtually forgotten, unfortunately, because they've been so overshadowed by the famous music, and set them for choir. And I think that that's important because these sonnets are virtually unknown, yet they have inspired one of the greatest masterpieces that we have today. And I think that going back to the original text and setting them really brings Vivaldi's work full circle back to where it started. Writing this work was very interesting for me because I had to be very careful to use Vivaldi's melodies in very carefully crafted ways, because I did not want this piece to be an arrangement of the Four Seasons. I wanted to create something wholly original. So what I did was I went about it the way I would go about any other choral piece. I started with the text, and I started setting the text the way I would as if I had never heard the Four Seasons before. I have honored Vivaldi's original work in a few ways, the most important of which was keeping the instrumentation of string orchestra with violin soloist, since that's really the essence of the piece. Since the choir now functions as a counterpoint to the string orchestra, I also added a soprano soloist to interact with the solo violin. I've also maintained the structures of each individual season. In the original sonnets and the original work, the music is organized into very distinct sections, and I've honored the original by keeping those structural elements intact. There are definitely a few Easter eggs hidden in the work. Some are pretty well hidden and others are a little bit more obvious. But if you're familiar with the original Four Seasons, I think you'll definitely recognize some of the melodies, some of the structures, and some of the ideas throughout, and I think that that will make it very fun for the audience. But I'd like to think that I've succeeded in bringing my own ideas to the table and making the overall work my own, and I'm confident that Vivaldi's spirit will be smiling down on us on Saturday night.
Hello, my name is Eric Schaff, and I've been with the Choral Art Society now for about 6 years. I'm a native here of Westfield, and this is actually the first time I've ever sung in a choir like this. The first night that I showed up, I sat in the choir and we started to sing, and it was like being inside a recording. It was like being inside the music that I've been listening to all my life. The hair on the back of my neck sort of stood up. It was amazing. I was totally hooked. Anyway, we've sung all of these great pieces, and it's just been a wonderful experience, but nothing compares to actually premiering a brand new piece like the one we're going to be doing in our next concert. Composed by our director. Come and see it. It is absolutely marvelous. I hope to see you there. Bye-bye now.
I'm very excited. This is going to be a very fun concert. We're celebrating Vivaldi not just with the premiere of this cantata, but we're also performing his Gloria, which is probably his most famous choral piece. We're going to be joined with a full string orchestra, as well as two fantastic soloists, a violin soloist and soprano soloist, for the Four Seasons.